Hello again, friends. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel. Please always remember to subscribe, to like, to share with your friends. Information is power, and I want this information to spread like wildfire. Okay? So today's topic, I wanted to expound on visitor visas again because, as you all know, if you've been following my YouTube channel, if you've been following me on WhatsApp, the FICA groups on WhatsApp, the FICA Telegraph group, you know that the government of Canada has extended once you enter Canada on a visitor visa policy and you find an employer who has an LMIA, that's the special permission they need in order to demonstrate that they've tried to hire from local and they can't find someone local. They are then allowed to hire from somebody who's not Canadian, who's here maybe on a visitor visa. They have extended that policy until 2025. So what does this mean? If you enter Canada, you cannot necessarily convert. You've entered the border and then you convert your visitor visa to a work visa or a work permit. You can't do that. There's a process. You first have to look for an employer who is willing to hire you. They have to interview you. You have to be right for the position that you're applying for. You have to have the skills, the necessary education for the job. And then they have to, some of them have the LMIAs already ready to go because they've been looking for employees they cannot find within Canada. So they have LMIAs already. They're just waiting for the right person. Let's say you're the right person. You've entered Canada on a visitor visa that's valid for, you can stay in 6 months at a time. So even if you have a visa for 10 years, you cannot stay for 10 years. You're allowed to stay 6 months at a time. You have to exit and you can re-enter as many times as you can on the 10-year visa. So let's say you've entered, you have 6 months to stay in Canada. You've been looking for an employer and they interviewed you. They said they like you. They've offered you a job. They have to offer you an official offer of job offer letter. They have to have that LMIA. And once they do that, you can apply for work permit. You don't have to exit Canada. You can apply for a work permit. It's done online. It's a very simple process to apply for a work permit. But of course, if you need help to apply, we have people who can help you apply for a work permit. But it's very simple to do it yourself. You do it on the Government of Canada website. You do it, you're doing inside Canada because it's legal to do it inside Canada. And then you apply and you wait. This might take 6-8 weeks, depending on how many applications they are getting. A lot of people are taking advantage of this opportunity to come as a visitor, and then if they find an employer, they want to stick around. So I wanted to cover that part. So that's an option. But let's go to the beginning. You're trying to get this visitor visa in the first place. Now, the law assumes that when you're getting visitor visa to come to the West, to come to Canada, to go to the US, to go to Australia, the law assumes that, especially when you're coming from a third world country, the laws of these countries, the first world countries, they assume that if you're coming from a third world country, you're going to find that if things are much better here than, the country you're coming from, and you might want to stick around. So the law assumes you're going to overstay that visa. So what they've done, they've made it quite a process to get a visitor visa. So I will go through the requirements of a visitor visa so that you have an idea, so that when you're putting in your application, you submit all the documents, especially for Canada. Canada doesn't do interviews most of the times. They will not interview you. They just want you to put an application together with all your supporting documents. And then if they're satisfied with your application and they're ready to give you a visitor visa, They will now send you an email to submit your passport to VFS office. That's their designated receiver of passports, so that it can be taken to the Canadian consulate to be stamped for a visa. So the requirements for a visitor visa. First of all, let's say you're being invited for a wedding. The only thing, the inviter is the person inviting you, okay? You're the invitee. So the inviter has very little to do with your application. All they have to do is submit the invitation letter or the graduation ceremony letter, the day they're graduating, when the event is taking place. Then they produce, if they are a student, they're inviting you for graduation, they produce that they've passed all their exams and their graduation date is this and this date. And that's it. And then they will have to produce, of course, that their legal status is a student in Canada. So they cannot be illegal in Canada. Somebody who's overstayed their visa cannot invite you for an occasion, or somebody who's not a Canadian citizen, or somebody who's not a permanent resident. So the person inviting you will produce the invitation itself and their status in Canada. That is that's it. The rest of the proof, the burden is on you, who is coming to prove to the visa officer. Remember that they're assuming that you're coming and you might most probably refuse to go back to your country, overstay your visa. So now you have to prove to the visa officer that you're actually coming for just as the intended purpose, so the graduation or the wedding, and then you will return to your country. So that's when you produce an employer letter. Whoever you're working for, they have to write you a letter and say, this person works here in the capacity of project manager. They can state your salary and say how much you make. You've been given time off, your annual leave from this day, July 24th to July 31st of 2023. You have a personal matter to attend. You have the time off. You're expected to come back to work August 4th, okay? This is your employer letter showing that you actually work. If you have other documents from this employer, you can produce them as well. The other documents you have to produce, very important, is your bank statement. A lot of people ask, how much do you need to have in there? Have as much as you can, but please don't make a mistake of selling a big property and then putting, 800,000 in the account and then producing this account to the visa officer. It will look fishy, it will look suspicious. So have an active account that's showing balances, showing money coming in, money coming out, money coming in again, money coming out. Or you can have a savings account that, is sitting somewhere, you've been depositing money. Now it has 1.2 million. And then you have a regular account that you transact your regular business deals. Is where you take out your rent money, you take out your bill money that you're paying all your bills. Have those two accounts so that they can see, okay, you put majority of your money in a savings account, and then you have an account that's current, that's very active. You put money in, money comes out, you put money in, money comes out, because they want to see a 3-month to a 6-month bank's worth of bank statements. The reason behind this is exactly why I said don't sell a piece of property, put money there to fool the officer. He'll be like, yeah, you did that for the purpose of just showing that you had a big sale and you put 800,000 there. You're just doing this for the visa, and then that money is really non-existent. So have an account that is very active to show in and outs of your account. And then you can also have, other accounts where you have savings. You have one account that with 1.2 million, or you have another one with 300,000. Attach those accounts as well if you have them. Bank statement, very important. It has to have your name, or it can have your name and your spouse. The other documents you have to produce, if you're a married person or if you're in a common law relationship with a significant other, is, of course, a marriage certificate or joint accounts. Like I said, you can have joint lease, you can have joint properties together, you can have joint title to a car, titles to land, attach any titles you have, any stocks, any bonds that you might have, anything that shows you're quite established in your country, that your intention is not to come here and overstay a visa. So a job letter saying that you work, you make a decent wage, bank statements to show you're quite well off in your country, you don't need to come here and overstay, have a family, have a spouse that you are coming back to, have children, so you attach birth certificates of children. This can be children that you have with your current wife, you can have children that you had with an ex-girlfriend, any birth certificate that names you as the parent, those are your children, and those are compelling reasons for you to show that you're coming for a short period and you will return. Okay, so have all these documents, because again, Canada will not call for interviews. They want to see documents, so produce as many documents as you can to show social and family ties, so that you have a compelling case that you're not coming to overstay your visa. If you have a business, you run a business, have those business licenses, business registrations, business bank statements, any what are they called? Business licenses that you're given by the city you live in, wherever you live, so that they can see, okay, you have a business, you're paying taxes to your government where the business is established. You have maybe you have a bank statement for this business, you have a business account. Attach all those documents. They're all important, because there's no interview, there's no second opportunity. This is not the US Embassy where they give you a date, you come for your interview date, and they ask you questions and you answer, they ask you questions and you answer. Canada won't do that unless it's really extreme circumstances. Then they'll call you in for an interview to verify something. So attach documents, attach as many documents as you can. Okay, so you're satisfying the visa officer that your intention is only to come for that purpose of a wedding or a graduation, and then your intention is to return to your home country. Okay, I hope I've covered the topic that a lot of people keep asking about visitor visa. All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.